Hello everybody, my name is Jane Jenny Nish, and I'm here today in Austria. I flew in from Germany to support one of our family members in the diaspora insurance, and I'm here to give our condolences. We are here with Kasisi Jensen, mother of Eric, Mama Eric, I'll call her in Swahili, Mama Eric, the mother of Eric. And I'll let her introduce herself first.
Yes, thank you, Jenny. My name is Margaret Kasisi Gichanga-Jensen. I'm a Kenyan, and I am married to this wonderful young man, Reverend John Darrell Jensen, an American citizen. I live and work here in Vienna, Austria. I work for the United Nations. And I have the wonderful occasion to be able to meet Jenny and Jeff today, and I am just really blessed. Thank you.
As she said, I'm this young man that's married to her, and I'm a retired Anglican priest, and I work in the Church of England with a permission to officiate. So I travel around Europe when they're in need of a pastor for a few weeks. So that's what I do.
Nice.
And you're also a classical pianist.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, lovely. Yeah, we're also here with Jeff, the CEO of Diaspora. And he also flew in from London.
I'm Jeff Mazingo, the CEO for Diaspora Insurance. And today we are in Vienna, Austria, where we have come to support Mama Eric on the loss of a young, vibrant young man, Eric, on the 20th of August. And we've come to support them. Like we always say, our diaspora clients are our family, so we always go out to support them. And the plan is Eric is going to be laid to rest in Kenya, so they will be traveling next week to go to Kenya for the burial. So Mama Eric, very sorry on the loss.
Asante sana, Jeff. Thank you so much for coming.
Yeah.
Thank you for the telephone call. It came as a surprise. I was not expecting any telephone call from you.
Yeah.
But thank you. I truly appreciate you even making the journey to come over here to just be with us today.
Okay, thank you Jeff for that message. Mama Eric, tuko pamoja, tunakuombea, and tunaomba Mungu ukisafiri Kenya, everything will work fine, and just remember we are with you in thoughts and prayers. So ningetaka utuambie kidogo experience yako, ndio watu waelewe unaweza kwanza ukatueleza how did you come to know about diaspora insurance, alafu utuambie pia kwa nini uliamua kuchukua policy. Yeah.
Asante Jenny. This is actually very interesting. Caroline Mutoko, asante sana. Whatever work you're doing, really, really great, because it was from your podcasts and so on Facebook that I heard about diaspora insurance, and I listened, and I was shocked when you mentioned that it costs about $20,000 to repatriate a body from most of the countries back to Kenya. And I realized that if anything ever happened to me, while I'm still employed, maybe it's not so much of a hassle. But once I am no longer employed, and because I'm married to an American, I did not want to have to burden my family with having to raise money for my own after my demise. So what I did is that I started thinking about it, and I just checked my records. It was in March 2022 that I decided to actually take the leap of faith. After I checked again, I went onto the website, I read a little bit more about the diaspora insurance, and I didn't have anybody to ask questions, but I just contacted the company, and I started having conversations online. I think it was with Tendai or somebody, and I got very good information. And so I decided to just take the plunge and take an insurance cover for myself and for my son. I tried to include my husband, but because he's already, at that time he was close to 70, it was going to be quite expensive. So I said he needs to
Ajipange.
that's the word.
Ajipange.
Yeah, ajipange. And me, I panga for myself and for my son.
Yes.
And so that's what happened. But I decided, you know the problem with most of our experiences with insurance companies has not been very positive in the past. So I was a little bit hesitant. So I didn't want to take a full $20,000 US dollar cover, which is I think the maximum. I decided to take 15,000 for each of us, for myself and for my son Eric, and the premiums seemed reasonable. So I thought to myself, if it doesn't go the way I want it to go, then it's okay. If I lose that money, then it's okay. Yeah. But then, and if it does work, it's still good enough money that I can be able to do something with.
Yeah, that's very good. Yeah, we say, from you doing your research, at least you dive deep to see, is this really worth it? Can I do it? Are they trustworthy? And actually, we have 24-hour customer care service. If you call them, they will give you all the information. So how's the registration process?
It was very easy.
Yeah.
It was very easy because I went onto the website, and then I did manage to talk to somebody because I make the call, and and then you have. I can't remember, but I think there was not just a chat, but also a telephone call.
Yeah.
So I talked to quite a few people, and I felt the information I was being given made sense, and it was quite clear.
Yeah.
So that's why I decided to go ahead and take up the policies.
Yeah, and by the way, you can also increase your cover if you want.
I might just increase it to 20.
You can increase it 20 years because you said you did 15. You have the chance opportunity to change, to increase. Yeah, it is that also. Thank you so much for trusting us. So the next thing I would like to ask, if you don't mind, what happened to our lovely young boy here? If you don't mind to share, maybe you can just make it short.
Yeah, Eric was born in 1991, and so we came because I work for the UN. We left home in 2000. We were in New York for about 3 years, and came here to Austria in 2003. And so he was in school here, and he spent the rest of his life here. He graduated in 2020 from his O levels. They call it. It was at the international school. So after that, he decided he wanted to settle here. He was very vibrant. He is very joyful and just a go-getter, and so we didn't know that anything was happening with him, and then until because I took this policy in 2022, so we went home we were home in 2021, for home leave. And then now when we came back, and Eric was at home with us in Kenya. So when we came back much later at around August, because he was in between jobs and things like that, he started complaining that he was having stomach problems and so on. And we wondered, couldn't figure out why. And so, but then he would go to the doctors, and then he doesn't follow up because he gets a little bit better, and then he doesn't follow up. But then it was in October 2022 that the symptoms seemed to get worse. And so he was, during the last week of October there, the doctor did a series of tests, and then his symptoms seemed to get worse because he started getting jaundiced. And then they sent him now to the hospital for further checkups. And that's when, on the 4th of November 2022, he got a diagnosis of stomach cancer, and it was an aggressive cancer. At that time, we did not know how aggressive it was, but he started treatment immediately, and it seemed like he was doing well with the treatment. But then there were always ups and downs because he had been scheduled like 12 rounds of chemo or something like that. And so he would have a chemo round, and then he gets another gallbladder infection and so on. So anyway, it wasn't until, so that first hospitalization was of about 5 weeks, and then the next hospitalization was in July, when he deteriorated, and he needed to go back to hospital because he had another flare-up of a gallbladder infection. And when he came out, we noticed that he was having a lot more pain, and he was put on 24-hour pain medication. But when he left hospital after about 4.5 weeks, we thought he was still fighting, and he was, and we were so positive that he was going to make it, and he really was looking forward to returning to his chemo treatments, and but then he just deteriorated as soon as he got home, and so he passed on 12 days after he had been released from hospital.
Oh, that is sad. Pole sana kwa msiba.
Asante.
Yeah, it's hard. It's difficult when we lose young people. Yeah, he had a full life. But you've told me a lot about him, and he lived he had lived 60 years of his life. He was taking up everything. Oh, that's good. We say live every moment like it's your last day.
Yeah.
And that's what Eric was doing. And
Exactly.
he's left so many memories.
Yes.
Like, we've seen the videos and everything.
Yeah.
I wish I got to meet him because he was doing an amazing job.
You'd have loved him.
You'd
have loved him because he got along with everybody, young and old alike.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
He was very friendly.
So, okay. So thank you so much for sharing that. I know it's not that easy, but I appreciate that you even take the time to share with us. I don't want to ask you too many questions, but I'll ask you maybe one or two more. After he passed on, I know you told me you did not immediately because you were not able to start the process already of the claims. If you could touch shortly about how the claims process was and how long it took for them to pay the claims, if you can just briefly tell us.
Yeah, like I mentioned earlier to you, it came, Eric's death came as a shock. We were not expecting it. Because we were always hopeful that he was going to beat this thing, and he too was fighting so hard to beat it. So when he passed on, it put me, I was in shock, and then I realized that there was just so much work that needed to be done, and the memorial service on the 6th of September. So it was only after the memorial service that I was able to sit down and say, okay, now what else can I do? And that's when I said, you know what, let me put in this claim now. And I sent in a notification by WhatsApp to the diaspora insurance team, and I said this has happened, and they responded immediately after, and they said that I need to put in a claim, and they guided me on how to do it. So it was only, I think, on Monday that I was able to finally put in all the paperwork, and they settled the claim immediately. And actually I am so grateful because it's a chunk. Repatriating Eric has been expensive, and it's a huge chunk of money that we have spent on that. And when the claim was settled, at least that financial hole, it gave me pause. It gave me, and I felt comforted also because it meant that the money that I had spent has been repaid, and we could be able to move on and take care of other needs, because there are still other needs at home.
So you've been covered here in Europe.
Yes.
So you still have Kenya, because he's been repatriated, and so there's still other costs on the Kenyan side.
Yes.
So like we say in diaspora insurance, peace of mind guaranteed. So would you recommend diaspora insurance?
Oh, definitely. I mean, I must say I was a little bit hesitant in putting in a claim, because I said this is another headache I don't want to deal with, because like I said, I signed up in March 2022.
Yeah.
And now, less than 18 months later, I'm putting in a claim, and I thought, are they going to believe me? That this has actually happened, and that this is totally unexpected.
And of course I think you thought, they will start saying, insurances sometimes they'll be telling you, you've been covered too short, or you cannot do this. I know we always like my any other insurance, they will always find out.
They will find a loophole.
Did you have anything like that?
No, I was actually shocked. I actually provided more information than was being asked for.
You're the one who was worried.
Yes, I was even thinking, maybe I should even send some of the whatever the reports, medical reports that I have. And but nobody asked me for that. They just asked for confirmation of death, and I was like, you too.
Alafu ukipewa pesa hawakuulizi unatumia pesa yako vipi, ama walikuwa na control, wanakuambia hapana lazima ufanye hivi. Wanakupa pesa yako, wewe utajua kile utatumia.
Exactly.
Kuzika mtu hapa ni wewe unaamua. Kama ni Kenya ni wewe unaamua.
Exactly.
You decide how to use the money. See?
Exactly.
Okay.
Hawakuniuliza. They just asked me, are you, because I'm the one who was forthcoming with the information that I'm planning to repatriate him. And so they were like, okay, so when are you repatriating him? I said, oh, he's got a flight on the 15th and I've got a flight on the 19th.
Yeah.
And so so I was like, but I never felt like they were questioning how I was going to use the money.
Yes.
No.
That's what the cash plan does. So kuna hiyo flexibility. It's up to you to know how to.
Yeah.
May Eric rest in peace.
Thank you.
Fly with the angels, Eric. Yeah. Sijui kama kuna kitu nimesahau kuuliza, lakini for a parting shot unaweza ambia wale watu wana doubt ama wale watu bado wanafikiria nichukue nisichukue, unaweza waambia nini?
Hey, death is unexpected. Mimi nikichukua hii insurance, I was taking for myself. I wasn't thinking of Eric. I just decided to add him because he was going to settle in Austria while I was going back to Kenya and also spend some time with my husband in his own country in America. So I didn't want to burden my family in case something happens to me.
Yeah.
But look, the one that I did not expect to use it first and ended up needing it first.
Yeah.
So I would say the premiums are low, you know, especially if you're working out here in diaspora. The premiums are low. It's not that much. If you can't afford the entire 20,000 cover, just take the 15,000 cover. It helps. I took only 15,000 and it has helped massively. I would say tujipange.
Yeah.
Tujipange, because we cannot do we cannot do what are they called? Fundraisers.
Yeah, harambe.
Yeah, fundraisers. Just to tell you, already the entire budget is coming to over for here and in Kenya is coming to even about 3 million Kenya shillings. You know, just the basics to cover everything, and we don't have that kind of money sitting somewhere. You know, so tafadhali, listen to yourself, listen to the advice you're being given. Let's tujipange so that when anything happens to us or to our loved ones, the financial impact is probably, in terms of losses, is probably going to be reduced, and it provides a lot of comfort to the family members who are left bearing the burden.
Exactly. You've had it for yourself. Diaspora Insurance cares. Yeah, it's a family. We are a family with our clients, and we want to be there for you. So if you have questions, any kind of questions, we have a 24-hour hotline that can support you. And please, like Mama Eric amesema, tujipange. Hakuna mtu anajua hiyo siku itafika lini. Hakuna mtu anajua ni wewe utaanza ama nani ataanza, lakini itafika. Ni kitu hatuwezi tukatoroka, si ndio? Hatuwezi ponea. Kwa hivyo ni vizuri tujipange mapema, at least familia yako ijue. In case of anything kufanyikia, unajua familia yako is at peace. Wataanza kukimbia huko kutafuta pesa hapa pale, which is hata saa zingine inakuwa difficult. So ningewaambia mkitaka kupata more information mtatupata kwa diasporainsurance.com, and all the information iko hapo, and tutakuwa ready kuwasaidia.
Thank you for the visit. Jenny and Jeff, thank you so much for visiting us. I did not expect it, but it's a pleasant surprise, and thank you also especially for these wonderful gifts. The banner, I'm definitely going to take it to Kenya. It's going to be useful for the burial. The burial is taking place on the 27th of September.
Yeah, like we always say, it's family. This is family. The work we do is not work, it's a calling. So we want to come through to support our clients wherever they are in the world. When you lose someone close in your life, you need all the support you can get. So that's why we are here to support them. And the policy that they have with diaspora insurance is a cash policy, which is why we always say people, when you are considering a funeral policy, a cash policy is always better because it gives you total control and total flexibility. The money could be used for send off in anywhere in the world because cash knows no border. Therefore, it speaks to the idea and reality of us being transnational citizens, people who belong to more than one nation, one society, and we want a policy which is equally transnational. Yeah, ultimately, the choice where to relate to rest or cremated, it's up to you, but with diaspora insurance, what you get is that flexibility to cover the expenses. So to Mama Eric, we say, this is the time to be strong. This is the time to give your son Eric a big dignified send-off, and the police will help you to achieve exactly that. So to Eric, we say, the short life you had, you did so much, and it was like you were in a hurry to achieve so many things, and maybe God was speaking to you, and we are here to just make sure you get a dignified send-off. You have achieved what some people will not achieve in 100 years in the short time you lived. So rest in peace. You did your part.
And this picture, I'm going to keep it for a while.
Keep this.
I will definitely keep this for a while.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. I truly appreciate that.
Diaspora Insurance, peace of mind guaranteed.